The Tennessee Titans won their first preseason game 17-13 over the 49ers, and Will Levis in the first-team offense looked fantastic. I'll break down the performance on this game recap edition of the Locked On Titans podcast.
You are Locked On Titans, your daily Tennessee Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland. Titans fans, the Tennessee Titans won their first preseason game of the year, 17-13 over the San Francisco 49ers. The offense looked fantastic early. The defense brought pressure all night long, and the special teams even became an advantage for the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to recap the entire performance, but before I get into it, do want to thank you for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first listen each and every day. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. You're not going to beat that anywhere else. Make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day here on the Locked On Titans podcast. As a reminder, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, nearly 25 years as a Tennessee Titans fanatic. I'm a certified film junkie, breaking down the X's and O's with you guys all year long. I've covered the team for Sports Illustrated, for USA Today, and I've hosted the #1 Tennessee Titans podcast in the world for 5 seasons running. With all that being said, make sure that you throw a thumbs up on the video, throw a Titan up in the chat, and let's get down to business. So, speaking of business, the Tennessee Titans offense handled their business early in this game. The Titans' first-team offense puts 14 points up on the board, and they go 2 for 2 on their drives, getting touchdowns. It wasn't an electric performance, wild, out of control, highlights all over the place, but it was just a methodical, good performance. The Titans' offense did exactly what it should have done against the San Francisco 49ers defense that did not have all of its starters out there, of course, but how can you hate on 2 for 2 on the drives with 2 touchdowns? You look at Will Levis, first and foremost. Well, again, was it a gaudy performance? No, but he went out there. He was controlled. He was smart. He hit his checkdowns. He didn't force anything. He went 4 for 5 on the night with 35 yards and had a rushing touchdown. Got a little crazy, as we know that Will Levis will do. This guy is a little reckless at times. Took a hit on the goal line that, hey, man, it's the first preseason game of the year. Maybe we don't take that hit on the goal line. But regardless, that is the way that Will Levis plays, and that's one of the things that, all of us Titans fans love so much about Will Levis is his passion and his aggressiveness and just wanting to be the man for his football team and not backing down from any challenge. But there was a penalty on that play. It got the Titans a first down. Very next play, Will Levis, quarterback sneak in. And that's something, I don't want to spend too much time on the show talking about quarterback sneaks for 1 yard, but that's going to be a big weapon for the Titans. Levis is a big, strong quarterback with good mobility and having a stout interior offensive line now with Skoronski, Cushenberry, and Dylan Radins, who's added a lot of weight as well, or added good weight anyways. That's going to be a good play for the Titans in short yardage situations. I think they can be one of the better teams in the NFL in those quarterback sneak situations. But moving away from that, it wasn't just Will Levis. I mean, again, 4 for 5, 35 yards, nothing that's going to pop out, but just a really strong, controlled performance. You go to the running backs, though, that's where you get the electricity. Tony Pollard, in particular, had 4 carries, 35 yards, had a 24-yard rush. And by the way, on that, Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, Lloyd Cushenberry on that. We're going to talk about the offensive line in just a moment. Before we keep going, though, let me know down below if you're watching on YouTube, you're in the chat. What is the one thing that stood out for you in this preseason game for the Titans? And look, it's a preseason game. It's preseason game #1. But this is the very first game of the Brian Callahan experience. Such a different change for Titans fans from the Mike Vrabel era that we just had for 6-7 years. So this is a big game, even if it's just a preseason game, because it's the first game of this entire culture change for the Titans. So keep that in mind too. But Tony Pollard, again, 4 for 35, had the 25-yard rush, looked explosive out there, looked back to his 2022 self. Love seeing that. Tyjae Spears' stat line on the ground wasn't incredible, 3 carries for 2 yards, but he did have the 1 touchdown, which was a nice run as well. So I thought both the running backs just, I know that losing Derrick Henry is hard for the fan base, but you got to be excited about this electric duo. Also, probably the highlight of the night for me personally, the thing that got me going the most was the completion to Calvin Ridley. The Titans are on third down. Will Levis hits Calvin Ridley a little bit short. He makes a man miss, gets upfield, 22 yards. That's an explosive pass play. So only one connection. And immediately once that happened, they took Calvin Ridley out. Like, you're done for the night. We saw it. We know. Buy Calvin Ridley stock, everybody. I've been saying all season since he got signed, he needs to be wide receiver 1 for the Titans. He is wide receiver 1 for the Titans. Very excited. It's my favorite offseason addition of the entire offseason was Calvin Ridley. So love seeing that connection. Got the one connection they made, explosive pass play, first down for the Titans. Just love that, although it wasn't a bunch of work. Do also want to talk about Treylon Burks. He did have one catch for 12 yards. Again, wasn't the most impressive stat-filled night of all time. It's not popping off the page, but Treylon Burks broke a tackle, and we have been waiting on that yards after catch ability. He looked fine out there. He didn't play much after Mason Rudolph's first drive, I believe, is when Treylon Burks ended up coming out. But, want to give him credit. He broke a tackle. Like, I don't care what you say. Treylon Burks, broken tackle, yards after catch. It ended quick. It ended ugly, but it happened, and we're going to celebrate that, okay? So good for Treylon there. I want to spend some time talking about this offensive line, though. I mean, J.C. Latham looked under control. On that third down where Will Levis tried to truck a defender, J.C. Latham absolutely destroyed his man. Just got hands on him and killed him like it was a college rep that we went over on the Tic Tac Titans film channel, on my other YouTube channel where I break down the film. Like, basically, that's what we saw. You look at run blocking, the right side of the offensive line that we've been so worried about, Dylan Radins and Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, they had some excellent run blocking snaps. Like, I was pretty impressed. Dylan Radins had some good pass block reps where he's just one-on-one stonewalling guys. So I know, again, it wasn't San Francisco's A-team out there, but this is an offensive line that needs to gain confidence. And I talked about that in my preseason preview yesterday that I did. By the way, 4 bonus episodes this week. 4 bonus episodes. You're not beating this content anywhere else. Get subscribed, stay subscribed. But yeah, I thought J.C. Latham looked good. I thought the right side of the offensive line was pretty impressive. Jerron Christian, I thought, played left tackle for a good portion of the backup time. I thought he was pretty good at left tackle. I like that addition now. I see why they brought him in, because Leroy Watson didn't even play maybe until the last version of the offensive line. Do want to also mention, though, Jalen Duncan, yikes, wasn't great. But I'll get more into that stuff once I watch the film. Last couple of offensive notes for me here. Malik Willis, 5 for 7, 38 yards, had 4 carries for 42 yards, ended up being the leading rusher on the day for the Titans because they were throwing the ball so much. It was awesome. Malik looked good. I'm not going to, freak out and say it was incredible. I saw a lot of people saying to me online, he's already better than Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph didn't look great, blah, blah, blah. That's a conversation for another episode, quite honestly, but I didn't think Malik looked incredible out there or anything, but it was a good game. It was a good game for him. He does look improved. That is a fact. Got to mention David Martin Robinson, the undrafted free agent tight end out of Temple. 2 catches, 30 yards. He looked good. He looked good catching the ball. He looked good running with the ball in his hands, and he's kind of big too. So pretty impressed by David Martin Robinson so far. DMR, let's see if he can make it as a 4th tight end for the Titans. Mason Kinsey, you can't kill Mason Kinsey. You just can't do it. 2 catches, 30 yards, 29 yards. And they had him working as an outside receiver at times too. So I was pretty impressed by that. Do want to mention this last thing. Jah'Quan, starting reps with the first team before MPF. The Njoku hive is out there. But Jalen Duncan played over him. He didn't come in until the 3rd string. So just something to keep in the back of our minds as we're thinking about the depth chart and how things stack up. But let's talk about the defense right now. Before we do want to let you guys know that today's bonus episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is the best place to buy tickets. You want to go to a Titans preseason game. You want to go to a regular season game. I bought my tickets on Game Time for the Packers game in week 3. You should too. And it's still summer. Go to an MLB game. I went to a ball game on Friday night. It was absolutely fantastic. Get you a warm beer and a cold hot dog. You're going to feel great about your decision, especially if you bought your tickets on Game Time. You get last-minute deals. You get all-in prices, which is hard to find. You get a view from your seat on the app. It's great. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Titans fans, let's continue our recap of the Tennessee Titans' first preseason win, 17-13 over the San Francisco 49ers. It may have been the Titans' first preseason win, but I am in mid-season form here on the Locked On Titans podcast. Again, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, a ton of bonus episodes every week as well. Always going to be free. Make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day here on the Locked On Titans podcast. Tomorrow, I'm going to look more at the scheme on offense, what plays the Titans were running. I'm also going to look at the defense as well in depth like we're about to right now. Also on the Tic Tac Titans film channel, I'm going to have film content up all week long to show you all the great things that are happening out on the field for the Titans. We'll talk special teams at the end of the show. I want to give them their credit, but that defense tonight, folks, I see what Denard Wilson is trying to do, and I like it, okay? Denard Wilson was bringing the heat all night long. Pressures up the middle, bringing safeties, bringing linebackers. I had somebody say to me, it's kind of a vanilla defense, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that they're going to mix it up. I am sure that all the coverage concepts that they want to work in off their pressure looks, they're not going to show in these preseason games, but, I mean, I think we get the gist of it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't get a whole slice of cake, but I kind of dipped my finger into the icing and took a bite, and yeah, the cake is good. The cake is looking good. Now, overall, that first-team defensive performance was not fantastic. So that first drive, they let San Francisco drive down the field, hot knife through butter. And a lot of people were saying, no Jeff, no Harold, no Snead, no Diggs, no Adams. There were a lot of starters missing from the equation, but I would argue that there were a lot of starters involved too. T'Vondre Sweat, Sebastian Joseph Day, Gibbons, Kenneth Murray, Amani Hooker, Roger McCreary. Elijah Molden got snaps out there, and he's going to be heavily involved in the defense. So a lot of people who are important to the Titans defense were out there, and they were kind of getting pushed around, especially on the defensive line. I thought the defensive line really opened up holes against the Titans. There were holes over the middle of the field in pass coverage. I think that's always going to be a problem when you have a guy like Jack Gibbons out there. And Kenneth Murray has never been a guy who's been very good in pass coverage so far. So it's hard to expect him to take a major leap there. The idea is that Denard Wilson is going to use him more properly on blitzes and pressures and things like that. And, you're not going to need to see Kenneth Murray as a primary coverage linebacker in any way. But the reality is those guys are linebackers. They are going to have to cover. And I think that over the middle of the field zone defense is going to be a little bit of an issue for the Titans this year. It's going to be a weakness. But speaking of that, we're talking linebackers. Let's talk linebackers, because clearly Denard Wilson is a linebacker's best friend. He may be a defensive back coach, but the linebackers all had great moments tonight. Kenneth Murray, like I said, the very first play of the game, he brings a pressure up the middle on a blitz, gets a hit on the quarterback. Really good play. Kind of went downhill after that, but really good play there. Had 2 tackles on the night. And then you go to the second team. Chance Campbell. I made it 13 and a half minutes through the show before I mentioned Chance Campbell, and I'm going to think about it before I go to bed tonight because I feel bad. This was the Chance Campbell game, period. Dude had 9-10 tackles, had a sack on a blitz that was maybe the best defensive play of the night, okay? I just want to take a moment here for my Chance Campbell love to describe this play. Can't wait to break it down, actually break down the film of this play over on the Tic Tac Titans YouTube channel. The link for that is down in the description. I hope you guys subscribe over there as well. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I made a bunch of videos about the Titans rookies that would be good content for you guys as well as the preseason games take off. But the Titans had a 4-man front, okay? And then Chance Campbell kind of scooted up, and we saw a safety come in, and Chance Campbell came in as well, and the defensive end got around, and they kind of all smashed at the quarterback, but Chance Campbell made that punch. We saw a very similar blitz with James Williams later as well, and I'll mention that, but Chance Campbell made the sack. I thought he had one pass breakup too, where he was able to get, maybe not hit the ball, but get in on a defender and create a drop. Had the interception at the end of the game to seal things too. How How absolutely poetic that Chance Campbell would get that late interception and jump up and grab that to finish the game for the Titans and secure the win. And again, I'm going to mention it again in the defensive section as well. This may have just been a preseason game, but this means more for the Titans than just your typical first preseason game. Like, this is an important culture building step. I'm not going to act like it's monumental. It's like in college football, if you've been playing college football lately, you do different things where you get influence on a prospect and different arrows. Well, this is like checking a player's social media or sending them a DM. This isn't a huge major impact, but it's little steps like this. Talk about stacking days. The Titans culture right now needs to stack days, and to get a win in your first game in the Brian Callahan system and the Brian Callahan tenure, you know what I mean? Like, I think stuff like this is important right now. It may not be as important next year or the year after because things are more established, but these things are important right now for the Titans to feel the success and buy into the culture and believe in their coaches and believe in the plan. Like, this success on offense and defense is important. So Chance Campbell having success after what has happened throughout. I mean, he was a 6th round pick for the Titans just a couple years ago, and he basically disappeared off the face of the earth and has been stuck on practice squad or injured for most of that time. And for him to come out and do this, it's just one of those buy-in moments where all of the teammates on the team see Chance Campbell's performance, and it's like, this coaching staff will get the best out of us. We're rowing together. So I know I'm making maybe a mountain out of a molehill, but I think things like this are important for culture. That's just me as a coach's son. So outside of Kenneth Murray and Chance Campbell, Otis Reese, 4 tackles. Otis Reese had a blitz where he got pressure on a quarterback and looked awesome as well. He was all over the place. He's so ferocious. So love seeing that. And I thought James Williams, the 7th round rookie, looked pretty good too. He had 2 tackles on the day. Getting away from the linebackers here, got to move around a little bit. Jarvis Brownlee Jr., I thought looked good. He had a great pass breakup on a long, and Jarvis Brownlee Jr. scouting report, he needed to play forward, close to the line of scrimmage. He wasn't a guy you wanted to cover back deep, okay? But he made a great play in the deep third and a cover 3. The catch triangle is a thing. Think about the arms and the hands meeting together. It makes a triangle. As a defensive back, you want to punch your hand straight through the middle of that triangle when the ball arrives. And Jarvis Brownlee Jr. was actually trailing the wide receiver, used closing speed to catch back up, and then perfect form, controlled and collected. Titans defensive backs over the last few years under Mike Vrabel just looked panicked when the ball was coming down. Like, when they tried to play the ball, they looked panicked. Not Jarvis Brownlee Jr. He looked calm, collected, just chill, and he slowly made it. The game looked slow for the rookie already. So wasn't perfect for him, but I was really impressed by that play. Trey Avery was just bad. He had a good special teams tackle, but man, nothing they can tell me will convince me that Trey Avery is someone we want on the field. I'm sorry. I don't want to be rude, but just not good. Just wasn't a great performance. I will also want to give some love to Keandre Coburn. So I've been very vocal about my lack of faith in the interior defensive line for the Titans. The backups, anyways, that's what I mean, the backups, like Keandre Coburn and Marlon Davidson and Quentin Bohanna. But Keandre Coburn looked huge tonight, and he looked pretty solid. Played like most of the second half. Looked pretty solid to me. So might have to take back my analysis on Keandre Coburn there. But with that being said, the special teams. What happened out there tonight? Titans special teams look good? What? How did this happen? We're going to talk about that, give Colt Anderson some love, talk about these returners as well. What a great game to watch for the Titans. I'm going to keep breaking it down now. Before I do, though, do want to let you guys know that today's bonus episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. All right, here's the thing. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively looking for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you aren't looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. So hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. It's why 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at LinkedIn.com/LockedOnNFL. That's LinkedIn.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. Titans fans, let's cap off this game recap edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. Titans win 17-13. I thought the first team offense handled their business out there and looked good. The defense brought the pressure and the linebackers really stepped up. Now we got to talk about this special teams unit because they deserve some love as well. Before I get into it, I do want to thank you again for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first listen each and every day. Speaking of every day, shout out to my everydayers out there tuning in Monday through Friday. Couldn't do it without you guys. Let me know who you are down in the chat. And if you aren't an everydayer, well, you're missing out. Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. Again, you're not going to beat that anywhere else. And there's a reason that this is the #1 Tennessee Titans podcast in the world for multiple years running. So get subscribed, stay subscribed, throw a thumbs up on the video, tighten up in the chat. The special teams, man. The special teams was an advantage for the Titans. You had the two big returns. The first kickoff return, Kearis Jackson, trying to get back onto the roster after getting injured last year, a 63-yard kickoff return. And I do believe, I could be wrong, but I do believe at this time, that is, they're calling the new kickoff a dynamic kickoff. That's kind of how they're trying to separate the conversation of the old style kickoff and the new kickoff. They're calling it dynamic kickoff. I do believe 63-yard return for Kearis Jackson is the longest dynamic kickoff return in history right now, right? Because it's brand new. So shout out to Kearis Jackson. He had two freaking spin moves. I hate to reference college football 2 times, but that was like college football 25, the way he was hitting those spin moves down the field and just trucking on. Incredibly impressive. And Kearis Jackson needs that. You know, he needs to make those kind of plays if he wants to make this roster with how crowded it is at wide receiver. So great there. Then the rookie, we've been waiting to see him. Mason Kinsey was the first team punt returner on the depth chart. Well, the depth chart was off just a little bit. I already mentioned Jah'Quan was actually third string right tackle behind Jalen Duncan. So it was a little off there. So Mason Kinsey did not get a punt return. It was Jah'Quan Jackson who got that first punt return, and 26 yards looked pretty good to me. I mean, right? Looked pretty good to me. So, love seeing that. And then the Titans did give up a 33-yard kickoff return late in the game, like it was later in the game. But in the first half of the game for the Titans, or most of the first half of the game for the Titans, the coverage units were really good as well. I mean, Chance Campbell made one of those tackles on special teams. Like, I really thought it was a pretty good performance. And it just makes you think that the majority of the players, I know Jah'Quan Jackson is the rookie, but the majority of the players that the Titans are using on special teams right now are the same players that they've always had. So if the players are mostly the same on special teams, but the special teams production is significantly better, I mean, figure out what the X is in the equation, everybody. Craig Aukerman was not good at the job. And the fact that he was with Mike Vrabel the entire time he was there and didn't get fired until he got Ryan Stonehouse's leg broken in half, it really does just, you know, it just makes you wonder. Like, it was crazy. It was crazy to me. So anyways, with that being said, I mean, that is most of my instant takeaways on all 3 sides of the ball. You got the offensive side, the defensive side, talk some special teams. Again, I think this is a more important preseason win than normal because it's the first game of the Brian Callahan era. Like, that is why this is important, that they were able to accomplish this. So, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't beautiful. It wasn't an outrageous, great performance. But at the same time, again, the offense handled the business. We got a good look at the defensive pressure ideas. Special teams was a plus. I just want to mention this last thing before I go here. And again, tighten up in the chat, thumbs up on the video. Make sure you get subscribed. Check out the Locked On or the Tic Tac Titans film channel, my other film channel where I break down the film. It's going to go nuts this week. I can't wait. But they talked to Brian Callahan on the sideline after the game. Did an interview. My guy, Corey Curtis, did a great job as the sideline reporter for that game. Great job, Corey. Corey Curtis talked to Brian Callahan, and there was just a gleam in Brian Callahan's eye. Like, you could just tell how, like, excited he was. Like, it was like you could tell it was a moment where he's like, holy crap, I am the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Like, you could just see it in his eye that it meant more than the words that were coming out. Like, you could just tell. And that sort of stuff fires me up. Fires me up. The Brian Callahan era has begun. The Titans are throwing the ball. They're blitzing, bringing pressure, pressing. Special teams was good. Oh, it gives me the warm and fuzzies, folks. Freaking tighten up, man. Tighten up. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow with another episode. Again, I'm basically putting out episodes every single day of the week for the next couple of weeks since we're into the preseason and the games are on the weekends and everything like that. So let's go, man. Let's go. Whew. I'm out of words. Lost for words how excited I am about tonight, even though it's a preseason game. Just so great. With that being said, that is going to do it for me tonight, folks. As always, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and this was Locked On Titans.